it was kind of a Cinderella story, I guess, you know.
It wound up being great from that standpoint to be able to win their 100th race in that Daytona also, which makes it even bigger.
Yeah, they was good drivers up front all night, and that's where all the wrecks started.
Yeah, I know.
And the people caught up,
yeah.
And it was
supposed to be the good drivers ain't supposed to wreck, but they do, right? At Daytona, they run 3 abreast.
Yeah,
at Talladega, they run 4 abreast.
They run 4 abreast.
That just puts the guy in the back closer to the front. All right, Betty, another Daytona in the books.
Yeah, and
kind of another one of them weird things, wasn't it?
Well, I'm not saying it was all that weird, but it was kind of a Cinderella story, I guess, you know.
It wound up being great from that standpoint.
Yeah,
for the Woods Boys to be able to win their 100th race in that Daytona also, which makes it even bigger.
Yeah, that's the most famous race that NASCAR runs, of course, you know, and of course.
But, you know, he was up in the front. Nobody ever even knew he was in the race until the last lap. But he was lucky. He stayed out of all the wrecks and stuff. And you know, that one guy, when they come down to the flag and stuff, that one boy hit him in the back and got him just far enough and beside the 8 car to be able to run it.
That he could pull down.
And the Fords were a little bit faster than anything else down there also, and that really helped him.
Well, the Fords, if is 164 laps run counting overtime, they probably led 150 of them. Ford did. I think the 5 led a little bit, and the 8 led a little bit, and I think the 42 led, but not at the start-finish line, so he didn't get credit for it.
Yeah, but he was all beat up. I think the 5, somebody hit him right early in the race, so he got all messed up to begin with.
Well, the 42 spun and caused the last caution that really, because they all getting ready to pit under green.
That's right. Somebody hit him in the rear and knocked him in the infield.
As a 5.
Yeah.
That really changed the race because they was getting ready to pit under green, and that would have changed it.
It was typical up till the last part of the race. Everybody just running, and if he's in the right line, you run forward. You know, so they was racing each other, but they was just running with each other. I don't call it racing, but then you know, at the latter part of the race, then they really got to racing each other.
Yeah, they was probably like, I don't know where I can describe it right or not, but there's probably some people up there wanting to lead, and there was some probably people up there that didn't care whether they was up there or not.
Some of them stay up there saving gas too.
Yeah, but the first stage, you know, it was 35 laps, so they didn't have to save fuel. They could go about 41. And one thing about it, Richard, they was good drivers up front all night, and that's where all the wrecks started.
Yeah, I know.
And the people caught up, and it was
supposed to be the good drivers ain't supposed to wreck, but they do, right?
Yeah, and
the poor 43, he got in, blew the tire. I guess he ran over something, and then got in 3 different wrecks, and still had all the wheels rolling when it was over with.
Yeah, he was. He was right there. One time there was a big wreck, and he got stopped and everything. Yeah,
but he had a good car. Under the right circumstances, he could have been up front. You know.
Yeah, but just looking how the people that was up front and everything, and even the way they finished, who had a good car and who had a bad car. I guess the only car, the 44 got lapped early. He lost the draft, and he got the lucky dog, and he finished on the 11th on the same lap, 20th. So
it knocked out a bunch of good cars.
Oh yeah, ain't no question about that.
That changes everything.
Yeah,
but it really winds up being basically a typical Daytona Talladega race.
Or if
you're in the right place at the right time and get lucky and miss the wrecks or don't start any, then you can wind up having a pretty good finish.
But you know that 4 car took a bad wreck. I mean, I thought that was terrible. And then he got out and he said, well, I don't think it's as bad as it looked. So maybe, but
that thing spun around on its top at least, 8 or 10 times?
I don't know. It like a spinning top.
It wore through the top down to the roll bars.
I don't know, Richard, but, you know, looking ahead, it'll be the same thing at Talladega.
And Talladega's really... At Daytona, they run 3 abreast.
Yeah,
at Talladega, they run 4 abreast.
They run 4 abreast.
That just puts the guy in the back closer to the front, not necessarily position-wise, but just closer to the speeds and stuff they're running.
But, you know, and I'm bringing this up again, if they're wrecking up front, the spotters can't help them.
No.
They can't help the drivers say. Only thing they can say is hang on or watch out or something like that.
Be like what when you were spotting for me or in the pits or whatever, and they'd be a wreck. You'd say watch out behind because you couldn't see what was in front. I could. It was up to me to try to miss somebody, but also you would holler, get out of somebody's way because here they come.
It's over with. The Wood Boys won the 100th race, and no,
I was glad to see that.
Ain't no question about that. And of course, Harrison's first win. And right now he might have a ride, but it's not out public.
Yeah, that's what he said when he got out. He said, "I just got fired, but I won a race."
So it was. It's no disrespect for it. It's just. I just don't like that kind of racing where they can't get away from each other if you got a better car.
That kind of messed up the top 16 cars because he goes in and makes the playoff. So it makes it even that much tighter for somebody to get in on the points. So Darlington ought to be, there's 2 or 3 of them that's got a chance to get in the top 16. So that will be the race as far as they're concerned. Whether they got to finish in front of somebody, whether they win the race or not. This main deal is I got these 2 or 3 people I got to beat, and don't worry about winning the race or whatever.
Yeah, you brought that up. It kind of slipped my mind. That really stirred the championship up.
Right.
And he's 35th in points, and he's and no disrespect
and still making
that,
payoffs, right?
But we've always talked that anybody could win.
So, sometimes when you look at the way the NASCAR's got that playoff figured out and stuff, is that really fair for the guys that's been running, 10th or 12th or 15th, not making the final 16, and they got somebody that's run 32nd. I think he finished in the top 10 one race before that. Other than that, he's been back there in the back trying to do the best he can.
But they got their 100th win, and they've been on that 99 forever. Me and Eddie talk a lot, and he brings that up a lot. So they got that over with.
I stayed on the 199 for a long time too, but not near as long as they stayed on 99.
Yeah, but Darlington will really be interested, like you said, because there's 3 spots open on points.
Well,
but they could be a new winner too.
That's right. They still opening for somebody that's been running decent all year that hadn't won a race.
Yeah.
And even somebody that's not running good under the right circumstances, like the 21 car was at Darlington, Daytona. If you're in the right place at the right time, then you change everything.
We've been there and done that, ain't we?
Both ways, good and bad. No, it was really neat to have Chief's crowd there, all his 3 boys, and me and Kyle. And we got to say, "Gentlemen, start your engine." That was pretty neat. But you got to figure we was down there with Coke and NASCAR, and we was celebrating. It's been 40 years since we won the last race down there, and also our 75th year in racing. So the Petty family. So from that standpoint, it might not have been that big for a lot of people, but for the Petty crowd, it was a big, big deal. I don't see them changing a whole lot. I think they're pretty satisfied with the way things are right now. There's a few suggestions I would probably have for them to change the point standing, but they don't listen to me a whole lot.
No, I don't think they'll change that, and I think it's perfectly okay for him to win it like that. I mean, it just stirs up the championship, and but he'll go into the championship run behind because he's only got 5 playoff points as of right now, and that's maybe that should be changed.
Yeah. I thought it was great. Like Dale said before, they've been sitting on 99 for a pretty good while, and been hoping things would come their way, At Daytona, everything just played their way. It was meant to be, okay, because the only lap he led was the very last lap, which is what everybody goes to do anyway.
Yeah, I was well pleased that 21 won. The Wood brothers, they've been in racing. It'll be 75 years next year, 25. But they done it all with one make of car too. I won't say what model it was, what make.
You know, like we said before, you know, who would have thought that a first time winner would be at Daytona? You know what I mean? So Darlington's another racetrack that most of the time the good cars really win the race down there. But the way there's 2 or 3 people that really got to finish to get in the top 16, then they're liable to mix things up a little bit. So it's going to be pretty exciting for them anyway.
Yeah, Eric Jones in the 43 is real good at Darlington. If he has a good night, he's got a good chance. John Hunter, me and Richard, of course, pull for him. But the 17 car, he's got a 21 gap in the championship. So he's going to have to play some strategy. He can't race and do exactly like he'd like to do because he's playing a strategy game. So there's some pressure on the 17, the 1, and 23.